You're good, Joe. Oh, now you're good. You're all set.
Thank you. I'd like to call the, that's the budget meeting. I'd like to call the real property committee to order. The first thing on the agenda is to accept the minutes from the last meeting. Peter, Claudia, thank you. Any comments, changes, deletions, additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Alexa, you want to give us the what for and why not?
Okay. All right, we'll start with the action agenda. First on there, I have a resolution request designating the Warren County Auditor to approve the New York State Real Property Tax Law corrections of errors. This is a resolution, we've done these for the past few years. It gives her the permission to authorize the payment of refunds less than $2,500.
Okay. Somebody want to move that? Peter? Second?
I will.
Sylvia? Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, next is another resolution request authorizing the conveyances of lands offered at a public auction on October 16th. This is a resolution we put through every year after our tax sale. Attached is a list of all the properties that went through the public auction. We do list the amount of taxes that are due, and then we list the sales price as well.
Somebody want to move that? Peter? Glad you showed up, Peter. You get a second? Clark? Anybody have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, next, is, I do have another resolution here. For you guys to accept the bid from the online auction for the Mullins property. It's something that you may want to look at. The highest bid that was on the property was only for $18,000.
Yes, Peter.
I thought we had arrived at a conclusion that we were going to establish a minimum bid on this property, something along the line of $70,000. My memory serves me.
We did talk about in committee a minimum bid of $68,700 for the committee to accept, because that's the value that the assessor feels that they will be putting on the property next year. This year they had put, they went up in value after everything was tore down and decided that that was not accurate. So they were going to, they gave me an approximate figure of $68,700 that they feel the full value is. When we put the auction online, the auction company was not comfortable setting a minimum bid of $68,700 for people to start bidding at, because they felt that if they did that, you would never know if somebody wanted to bid $65,000 or $68,000. So they did put it out there with, I don't know, I think a $50 minimum to see what type of bids would come in. I had 4 people reach out to me to get the environmental information on this property, and this was the largest bid that we got.
May I just make
Go ahead,
make a
Peter.
comment? My concern about selling this property for what seems to be a very low amount of money is we have a piece of property that sits at the crossroads of 2 communities.
Mhm.
The largest community in Warren County, that being Queensbury, and the city of Glens Falls. So it sits at a pinnacle, a crossroads of people coming to our community, looking at what may go there. And if someone is not paying a lot for the piece of property, my suggestion is something not very nice is going to end up going there. That is not good for the city of Glens Falls. It is not good for the town of Queensbury. So the amount of money being, my point in bringing up the minimum bid was to ensure that someone pays enough for the property to ensure that the ultimate end result in terms of what actually occurs there, happens.
Dennis?
Peter, I think one of the things that's happening here, and this is one of the reasons we did the auction, is we've gone out to the public. We've given them a chance and they've come back with 18,000. So to me, that says the 68,700 is not a valid number. Now, we've put a lot more than that into it, making it environmentally sound. At that figure, Peter, I would think that Glens Falls and or Queensbury would step up and make the county an offer. You've got a number here. I would rather see the two municipalities get it and do something with it, constructive, than sell it to the public for 18,000.
Well, I certainly, that would be my feeling, Dennis, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, Claudia?
Thanks. I just wanted to, give a little bit of history. When I was chair, Lexi worked on this very hard and to get the property in shape. Unfortunately, we didn't go out with any sort of bid process at the time that the building was still standing. But the board did eventually go forward with this process that Lexi and I had proposed about trying to put it out to bid and see what we can get for it. And now we do know what the market will bear, so to speak, on this particular property. I am disappointed that it's not higher. I'm also disappointed that Queensbury has not indicated any interest in purchasing it. And so maybe at this point they will do that, but to my knowledge, the town board has not been interested. And I also haven't heard that we need that piece of property for the county bikeway either. So I think that we either get it to the town of Queensbury or Glens Falls, like you just mentioned, or we get it back on the tax rolls and allow someone to do something with the property. And I think that our business people will do something very nice with it. I don't think it'll be something that will be a harm to the community. It's an urban area. It's already been developed. You guys all know I'm an environmentalist. So if it's a piece of undeveloped property, I would be fighting to protect it. But this isn't that case. It's downtown. It's right on Bay Road. It can be developed into something really cool. I am disappointed in the low amount that we've been given for it. If you want me to put a motion out to accept this resolution for discussion further, I will. Dennis?
Mr. Terwilliger, we have a bid. Can we table this bid or do we have a time to act on it? Do we need to act on it today?
I think Lexi wants to answer. So, I mean, I'm happy to.
Yeah, why don't you answer, Lex?
Okay, so the thing of it is with an auction happens, usually they have so many days to put a deposit down and a buyer's premium if we're accepting. The auction company has told them that they would have to wait until it went through our meeting to have a decision made as to whether it was going to be accepted or not. If we don't accept the bid, then I can move forward with paying the auction company because we already had moved that money in a prior resolution in case that was needed. One thing I did want to mention though about the property is remember that this is on Bay Road. This is called a travel corridor in Queensbury. There is now since the building has come down, if somebody had bought it the way it was, they could have done something with that building. Now that the building is down, there is a 75-foot setback on this property. So, and then you're coming in 25 feet on both of the other sides. You're down to like a lot size from 1.09 down to a 0.28 acre parcel that somebody has something to do with. Granted, there is 1.09 acres there, but the developable part is only going to be the 0.28 because of the setbacks. I mean, yes, they can apply for variances. I don't know what'll happen. That all is determined by the town of Queensbury. But I just wanted to put that out there to everybody.
Rachel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just, as a Queensberry representative, I just wanted to weigh in on this discussion to say that we have put a lot of money into this property so far. Our hope was to get it back on the tax rolls. I voted against this path a long time ago in terms of taking down that building, but it's taken down. We have this piece of property. I think it would be great to get it back on the tax rolls. We went out, we did the bid, we continue to spend money on it. And I hope that at least this board, this committee would move it forward for a full board discussion. And if in between that now and that time, if Glens Falls, if the city of Glens Falls decides they want to come forward and talk with Lexi about an offer, or the town of Queensberry, I have spoken with some of the councilmen in Queensberry. They are not in favor of it, but doesn't mean that the majority wouldn't be. But as far as I'm concerned, it would be great to at least see this proceed so that we could have some movement and then also have any other dialogue with municipalities. Supervisor McGowan has shared with me a lot of the details around those variances, but we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are young, that are excited about that bike path, and really creative business people in our community that I'm sure are coming up with some wonderful ideas. So I'd like to see it back on the tax rolls.
I feel very strongly that Chairman Sieber is correct. We've diddled around with this property a long time. My hope would be that somebody would buy it and do something with it. But I'd like to see it back on public rolls, tax rolls. And I would entertain a motion to accept the bid.
I so moved.
Claudia, somebody want to second that?
I would if I could.
Thank you, Sylvia. We got a second? Any further comment?
I'm going to vote no on the proposal. It's opening an opportunity for just a bad development at the crossroads of two of the larger communities in the county. So I'm going to vote no on.
Peter, nobody stepped up, otherwise I would hesitate to do this, but I don't want to fool around with this property anymore. We've been at it a long time. Craig, did you have something you wanted to?
Yeah, just for clarification, let's say, for example, if the town of Queensberry was to buy it, what would be the revenue to the county?
Zip.
No?
They would only pay a third of the value, which Queensberry's at 100%, and I believe the value right now is $193,000 or $198,000. Town of Queensberry does plan on lowering that assessment next year to $68,700. So if they waited until next year and made an offer to the county, their third of the value would only be a third of the $68,700. So
Which is more than,
it's still putting it close to this 18,000, because then they would only be paying what, 23,000?
which is more than 18,000.
It is.
Yeah, okay.
But remember, town of Queensberry would be exempt. And if an individual bought it, they would be paying taxes.
Mayor Diamond Jack, you had some?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to agree with you, Dennis, on this. I think it's about time that we put this back on the tax rolls and have some entrepreneur come in and try to do something a little bit different with that area. It doesn't look good. I mean, the county's probably maintaining it with our public works department. And if we can get $18,000 and put it on the tax rolls, I think it's a win for the county, because the city's already had an opportunity. They could have participated in the online auction. They chose not to do that. Town of Queensberry chose not to do that. If this is
Correct. People
are driving up that corridor every day, I think it just makes sense to put the property in the tax.
I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Regarding the city of Glens Falls, I don't see the city putting any money into that piece of property for a couple of reasons. My understanding, the city bought the former Glens Falls Tennis and Swim Club. I asked the other day, what are we doing with that? Nothing's happening there. As chairman of the planning board, I just signed off on the subdivision of 333 Glen, the parcel that Chris Patton, if anybody here is familiar with that, wanted to construct a multi-family building, whatever. And the reason I mention that, now that that subdivision has been confirmed and approved, my understanding is that the city's gonna buy that piece. Point is, the city only has so much money. They got it tied up in one piece of property, which I don't know why they bought it or what they're gonna do with it. And then this piece of property, I just don't see the city stepping up with any kind of funds to buy this piece of property. And additionally, as someone pointed out, it would be city property and not on the tax roll.
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there and thank you.
Thank you. Brad,
Yeah, thank you.
make it quick.
No,
Thank you.
we've come a long ways with this, and I think it's time. It would have been nice if Queensbury and Glens Falls got together with a joint venture to move forward, but I'm happy to see this get back on the payroll, and unfortunately, we didn't get what we really wanted, but let's move on.
Good point. So we have,
Can you go back out to bid?
I don't know why you'd want to.
I see Lexi saying. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Piroli.
Oh, I'll defer to Supervisor wishing to speak.
I just have a comment, not with my legal hat on, but, if we got another bid between now and the full board meeting, when we go to accept this, we could still consider that. I don't see why not.
Correct.
We don't have a way.
If it came from the town,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant a bid.
No, not an
out
outside bidder.
On auction. Okay.
yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. On this, the committee does have the option, if you did want to accept the bid, or if you wanted to table it to the next meeting. Thing I just wanted to bring up from the legal end, that the county does own this property, so there's always a potential for any kind of liability based on it, if somebody was injured on it, or some property damage or anything like that on it. The longer the county owns it, it's another piece of property that has potential for liability to the county.
Thank you. Yes. Dan.
Mr. Chairman, one last comment. I think Lexi made a good point. When you look at the required setbacks at this point, the amount of usable land there is nothing. And I don't know why anybody would buy it. You could, as she also stated, you could try to get a variance, but that's a crapshoot, as they say, and I wouldn't put my money into that piece of property banking on possible variance so I could use more of the property. But as it stands now, what is usable, if you will, is less than a postage stamp. I don't know that anybody would.
Well, it's 1,200 square feet. You can put up a reasonable sized building.
Yeah,
Depends on what you want to do with it.
I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Dan. If there's nobody else, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Peter?
No.
No. Okay, it passes. Thank you, everybody. Lex, thank you very much for all your time and effort.
And then lastly, I have a resolution on here that I would like to rescind Resolution 406 of 2021. I did attach that resolution. We had that resolution to transfer money to pay for a design plan up in the town of Johnsburg on the Mosier property. However, there was extra money left over from the survey that we had done for the asbestos and lead. So I do not need this money because I still have enough left. And so I would rather transfer it back to the reserve testing fund to hold it for a future project if possible.
Okay. Somebody want to make that motion? Sylvia? Claude? Any further discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye. Sorry.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Anybody have any discussion items? That's good. Any referrals, pending resolutions? Privilege of the floor. Claude?
I just wanted to congratulate Lexi and you, Chairman, on a great auction this year. It ran really smoothly. I mean, it was a long day. Lexi, thank you for all your work and being there early with the auction company and all of that. And we had a really successful, I don't think that came up earlier, so I just wanted to say we had a great,
Yeah, we did.
successful auction.
Made a few bucks.
Made a few bucks.
We did.
How much was it, Lex?
The total is on the sheet and Frank's got it here, actually. $928,100. If we had had a couple other that were pulled because of legal stuff with the courts, we would have been well over $1 million. But
Great.
I mean, that was great. We were able
Yeah.
to fill our revenue code, pay off the back taxes, put money into the reserve testing fund, and still have money go into the general fund.
Excellent. Good job.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments? Going once, going twice? Entertain a motion to adjourn? Peter? Sylvia? All in favor?
Aye.
We're done.
Yes.
Thank you very
Can I
much,
just
everybody.